morning, everyone. Welcome to worship at Elliott United Methodist Church. Please be with me in a spirit and attitude of prayer as our prelude is played and we prepare our hearts and mind for worship. There are a few announcements this morning. First of all, we have a blue Christmas service, evening service today at 5 p.m. And the purpose of that service is just to be a bit more quiet and contemplative, as sometimes we have suffered losses either this year or throughout our lives that Christmas doesn't always bring those happy and joyful feelings for people. So tonight's a time to be able to get together, to light candles in memory of those that maybe you have lost, or relationships that have gone by the wayside, and just to be a little bit more contemplative this Christmas season and acknowledge that. And there's a light supper that will follow that as well. So that'll be right here at 5 p.m. And so I encourage you to come to that if you so feel led. Tuesday, we will be having our Salvation Army service team going to serve the homeless in Portsmouth. And Linda is leading the team this month, and I believe she has all the volunteers she needs. Or are you looking for anybody?
I would love to have one more person.
Linda would love to have one more person join her, so that's at Tuesday, and do they have to be at the place at 4?
They're at 4, or we meet in the parking lot around 4:45 here, and then we'll all go together.
Okay, so 3:45 here in the parking lot, and please just let Linda know after service if you're able to help her. On Wednesday at 3 p.m., we're going to be getting together to put together our Cancer Care Kit project. We are doing 4 different projects on Wednesdays during Advent to provide different things for the community in need. So this week, it's our Cancer Care Project. And if you have any questions, Wendy, you're in charge of that this week, correct? She's looking at me like, really? Okay, next Sunday, right after worship, we are going to be going caroling, Christmas caroling, to our homebound members. So if you're willing and able to come sing with us, it's always a joyful time to go and bring the joy to our homebound members. It's a blessing to us and to them as well. So please plan on staying, and we'll be carpooling and doing that after service next week, and also bringing them cookies that our membership and mission team is baking and putting together for us. Also, let's see here. You may notice we have a new, beautiful Advent candle stand that Jody's son, Justin, made for us at cost, which saved us quite a bit of money, and it's lovely. And I'd just like to, if you have a moment when we're sending cards, send him a thank you note, because he really put in a lot of work, and it's beautiful. One last thing is our pledge cards that we handed out last week. If you didn't get one, I believe that Stephanie's holding her hand up, so she does have some more. If you took those home and brought them back this week, we have a box. It's right behind Jeanette on the back table that just has a slit in the top. So either during God moments or communion, you can, Bill's holding it up now, you can take your pledge back and put it back in that box. Are there any other announcements that need to come? Yes, Linda.
So the giving tree is set up, and it is in the narthex, not the narthex, in the fellowship hall, I'm sorry. So far I have one family from the town.
And we will have the table plenty family.
Okay, so we'll have a table of plenty family, and I think Trisha's going to give me some more families that are in connection with N68 So there's only one family out there today. Feel free to take those ones though, and next Sunday there will be more. The gifts for the giving tree need to be in by the 16th so I can get those distributed. The bin for the veterans, which we will be delivering personal hygiene items to the veterans home in Scarborough. The bin is actually sitting behind Clayton Hines, and that's where it is today. It'll be out back at the fellowship hall next week they'll be gone. Next Sunday is the last Sunday. So the bin will be there, but everything for the veterans needs to be in by next Sunday.
Lorraine.
Yes. The Mary Martha would like to thank everybody who helped put the fair together. And the good news is Mary Martha took in $1,936.50. Silent auction took in $1,435. And the Lions made $228 for a total of $3,599.50.
Praise God.
There's a lot of stuff in the fellowship hall, and we will be selling after church, after the service.
So that number's going up.
Yes.
That's great. That'll be wonderful use for our missions around our church and our ministries. Are there any other announcements? Jody?
Yes, also, I guess they're in your bulletin, but if you would like to dedicate a poinsettia this year, if you can have the forms back to me by the 12th, and poinsettias will need to be dropped off on the 15th before noon. Okay? If you're sitting with a spouse or whatever and you only need one of these, will you please leave any extras on the back table in case someone else needs it? If you need more, I will run more off.
Thank you. Are there any others? Okay, before we get to our God moments, I'd just like to note that we are starting Advent and a new worship series, which means that, of course, you can see our beautiful altar up here. It's the 200th anniversary of Silent Night, and all throughout Advent, we are going to be celebrating that and lifting up the various words from our Advent typical scriptures. And we're sharing that all throughout. So that's why kind of the lights are a little bit dimmer. We're trying to make it look like night without completely making you not be able to read. So this is our first Sunday with that. So we have some songs, and I would like to thank the choir and Mary Frances because they learned all of this music that they're going to be leading you in this morning. So I appreciate that. And also, that's why they're kind of spread out amongst you, is that they're going to be leading the sections. This Sunday, you just get to listen to their beautiful voices. But pay attention, because next week you're going to be joining them. Okay. So are there any God moments that we'd like to share this morning where God has been working in your life this week?
It's Mom's birthday today. So happy birthday, Mom.
And Stephanie Peters and Mark.
We share the love.
It was a good day to be born.
And my brother.
And your brother was. It was a great day.
He always
So I only have a 5. I didn't have anyone. So I have to be very thankful today. So I would really like to thank everybody that did donations to the silent auction, everybody who bid on things at the silent auction, and we did really well with that with the $14.35. And that money will go to Pastor Dawn for her discretionary fund for anybody in the community that's in need or people within the church that are in need. So I thank you all for that. And I just also, I am very joyful. I would just like to say for all of the new friends that we have with us today and for all of our old friends and our old friends that have come back today. So thank you.
I've told a few people, but last week, well, about 10 days ago, Mike had another clear MRI, so 2 of us.
I'm Georgia. I'd like to thank all of you for your prayers. I'm new in this church. I was in my church yesterday in South Portland, and they were decorating for Christmas. It was absolutely beautiful. My husband's service is going to be on next Saturday. But I want to thank you all for your prayers and your friendship. It's wonderful. And your lovely minister. Yes.
I have 2 things to be happy for. The first one is I went to my urologist on Friday after waiting months. I'd had a CAT scan a month ago, and they kept postponing me and bumping me and come another time. Finally, I went Friday, and everything is fine. There's nothing wrong anywhere. There's just one problem: age. I was still extremely happy and relieved, so I have a new lease on life. And the second thing that I'm very happy about and very proud of, Thursday night, my daughter that I live with said, "Mom, cousin Stephen isn't doing very well." I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "Well, come look at Facebook." So I went to look at Facebook, and her cousin, Herb's nephew, who lives in Malden, 41 years old, wife and children have left him. He is a habitual addict, and the wife and the children just couldn't take it anymore, so they left. He's lost his job, the bottom has fallen out of his life, and he wrote on Facebook that it's not worth it. He doesn't know if he wants to go on. And I'm reading it, and my daughter's reading it, and she says to me, Mom, who should we call? I said, I don't know, Valerie. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of throwing my heart and soul into trying to help someone, and they really don't want to be helped. And then you're left in a puddle of mush, and you wonder why you did it. Why did you get involved? And that wasn't right of me, and it wasn't the way I usually am, but I am tired. So I kind of quietly went in my room and thought about it, and didn't know quite who to call or what to do, and so I went to sleep. The next day, my daughter Valerie texted me and said, I've called Stephen, and Stephen is coming for dinner on Sunday to our home to watch the Patriots. And he's bringing his 9-year-old boy, and we're going to have a great dinner, family dinner, and we've got Christmas presents for them. I said, Valerie, I am so proud of you, because that's what we're supposed to do. We are supposed to love no matter what, no matter how tired we are. And I am so proud of you, because you're being just the way we are taught to be. And now I say, the chicken is teaching the hen. I'm so pleased that the way I believe and the way I've lived is now passed on to her. What more could you want? Thank you so much.
As many of you know, I've been sick for about a month, and I finally found out that I have microscopic colitis and bile acid malabsorption. So I'm on 2 new medicines. I think they're starting to kick in, so hopefully I will start to feel better, not tired, and put some weight back on. So.
We're happy you're feeling better, Jody. Are there any others this morning? It was great to hear so many and sharing their God moments. So, okay. As we transition, I invite you to take a deep breath. Imagine that what is above you is a starlit night. And in this moment, all is calm and all is bright. Something mystical occurs as we light our candles and sing the hope of all is calm, all is bright, peace and light for the world. This worship series will celebrate the carol's message over the entire season of Advent and highlight its call for our that can guide us all year long. This week we begin with verse 1. Let's speak it together with hushed voices, as if there was a sleeping baby in our midst. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. Round yon virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild. Sleep in heavenly peace, sleep in heavenly peace. One of the most famous stories about this beloved hymn took place in World War I. British and German soldiers on the front lines called a truce on Christmas Day. So close were the encampments from which they were fighting one another, they could hear each other in the peaceful quiet of the truce singing Silent Night, each in their own language. This prompted the soldiers to come out and meet on the battlefield without weapons, and they spent the day playing soccer and exchanging small gifts, whatever they had. Humanity is the holy infant for whom God so desires a heavenly peace. Is it possible to bring calm and bright to our own corners of this world? Almighty God, as we begin this season of Advent, remind us again that in the midst of our darkness, you are bringing us peace to calm our anxious spirits and hectic lives. Turn our hearts again toward you. Make us ready to receive your Son, our Savior. Slow our pace and give us the blessing of feeling your peace in our spirits. For we ask this in Jesus' precious name. Amen.
We enter this season of waiting by lighting the first candle, anticipating the light of the star that shone over Bethlehem for all to see.
We open ourselves to hear your call today, to become those who not only wait, but also work for peace in our lives, our families, our communities, and our world.
Please join us.
Fill us with your peace and light. Make the world so calm and bright. And now turn to your neighbor and welcome them in the peace and love of Christ this morning as we exchange our peace. You may be seated, and I invite our children to come forward for our children's message, and Justin, who will be doing our children's message throughout Advent.
Hello, hello, good morning. So let's see how well you guys were listening. What is today? Today is a special day. What is it? First day of Advent, yes. Nice. So there's 5 Sundays before Christmas. So today's the first one. And each Sunday we light a new candle, right? So today the candle is for peace. So we're all going to make a hand wreath. You know how to do that? Like that. How many fingers do you have?
5.
How many Sundays before Christmas? 5. All right. Can you do that, Harper? I like that. So we're going to light a candle on our finger later. All right. So peace is important to remember. What gives you guys peace? Do you have anything that gives you peace? Yes? What? What? What gives you peace? Huh? Les Mis, okay. Reading. What gives you peace, Leona? What? School. School gives you peace? Do you have a blanket or a stuffed animal or a toy? Yeah. You have a what? A CD? Some music, maybe? Is that peaceful? No? I wonder why the baby's crying. Why do you think the baby's crying? You think it needs something? It's tired or hungry? Yeah? What do you think we could give the baby to help keep it quiet? Do you guys see anything? I want you to stand up and look out there. See if there's anything you see that could quiet the baby down. Go get it. Go get it. Go get it, Leona. No, Leona found it. Go get it. Hurry up. This is driving me nuts. All right, put it on the baby. Put it on the baby. Put it on the baby. Put it on. Right here. It's a blanket. It's a blanket. It's a star blanket. Ah, is that better? Yeah. Is that better, Harper? All right, stop. All right. So blankets will calm babies down, right? Blankets, yeah, food. So all those things that you have that are special to you, they bring you peace, right? They make you feel good. They make you feel comfortable. They make you calm. Well, God brings us peace too, all right? If there are times where you don't have that blanket or that stuffed animal, think of God, all right? God is always there. He is always peaceful. So fold your hands together and pray can always bring you peace, right? He will always snuggle us and bring us peace. All right, Shalyn, you can play the video. All right, we got a video. It's of an ugly bat. So those, isn't that cute? Huh? Blankets even brought those bats peace, didn't
They
they?
weren't unpeaceful before, were
Nah, they looked
they? They looked peaceful before.
unpeaceful.
No.
So let's make our wreath hands. And when I say peace, we're gonna say prayer, and when I say the word peace, I want you to light one of your fingers with your other hand. Okay? So repeat after me. In the silence of the night, by the stars' gentle light, peace is born. Amen.
Thank you, Justin. The bats in that video kind of looks like my smallest little dog. But they are cute, except when they're flying around your house. They're not so peaceful. Okay.
Scripture readings this morning, both from Isaiah. The first one is chapter 2, verses 1 to 4. The word that Isaiah, son of Amos, saw concerning Judah and Jerusalem. In days to come, the mountain of the Lord's house shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills. All the nations shall stream to it. Many people shall come and say, "Come, let us go up the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth instruction, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. He shall judge between the nations, and shall arbitrate for many peoples. They will bear their swords into plowshares, beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up a sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. The second reading is chapter 9, verses 2 and 6 to 7. The people who walk in darkness have seen a great light. Those who lived in a land of deep darkness, on them the light has shined. For a child has been born for us, a son given to us. Authority rests upon his shoulders, and he is named Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Parent, Prince of Peace. His authority shall grow continually, and there shall be endless peace for the throne of David and his kingdom. He will establish and uphold it with justice and righteousness from this time onward and forevermore. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. The word of God for the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
The classic hymn, Silent Night, first made its debut on Christmas Eve in 1818 at the St. Nicholas Chapel in, I'm going to butcher this name, Oberdorf bei Salzburg, Austria. The melody by composer Franz Gruber is instantly recognizable from the first few notes, and the original text by Joseph Moore has been translated from the original German into over 140 languages. In 1914, just 4 years shy of the 100th anniversary of Silent Night, the soldiers fighting World War I along the Western Front held a ceasefire in some of the areas out of mutual respect for the holiday. Members from opposing sides exchanged gifts and stories with one another, played games, and sang Christmas carols together, including the beloved hymn, Silent Night. Today, churches all over the world gather together each year on Christmas Eve to light candles, sing Silent Night, and participate in a timeless tradition of inimitable ritual power. In 2018, our communities, our churches, and our world are torn and divided about many issues of cultural contention. Families fight, politicians argue, flame wars spread ignorance and hate on the internet, and sometimes we feel that hope, peace, love, and light are missing from our lives. Perhaps this Christmas could be a time of ceasefire from our own sources of conflict. Perhaps this year we will raise our voices in song to celebrate the birth of Christ with the spirits of peace and love that transcends all barriers. Our Advent series is entitled Calm and Bright. What do we mean by calm? Well, we mean not feeling nervous, anger, or other emotions. Silence, perhaps, no fear. A place where we are open to God's will and word in our life. And perhaps that silence can help us to listen, to hear the voices more clearly of the people in the margins today, those in need of economic and social and political justice. Perhaps the silence can help us to listen and hear Jesus' cry in their voices. Weekly, we are gathering to make first responder kits, cancer care kits, Umpcore cleaning buckets, and as you see today, up here are blessing bags for the homeless in our community. In doing this, we are claiming our agency to be part of the soothing of humanity, and we bring the gifts we have to the manger of Jesus Christ, God with us, to the cradle of hope. One of the programs that we have supported throughout this year fits right in here, and that is our End 68 Hours of Hunger program that we have been supporting. We have the program coordinator here for Elliott and South Berwick, Tricia Foster, who's going to tell us about End 68 Hours of Hunger in this context for a few moments. I invite you forward and we welcome you here this morning.
Thank you, Pastor Don, for such a warm welcome.
And I just want to give a very special thank you to Linda Lear, who has been such a dedicated, unwavering person for N68 Hours of Hunger from the very beginning. She monthly organizes packing of bags of food and distributing those out to the schools. And she also coordinates the giving from the community here of fruit cups every month, sometimes over 300 fruit cups every month to feed hungry children in our community. Wow. I see so many happy people here. Thank you. Thank you. I haven't talked to a group of people in a long time. This is great. Thank you. My name is Tricia, and I am the program coordinator for End 68 Hours of Hunger for Elliott and South Berwick, the Marshwood School System. So E68, as I call it for short, because N68 Hours of Hunger is really a mouthful, is a food assistance program for children. The 68 hours comes from the food insecurity that some children experience from Friday school lunch to Monday school breakfast. E68 is a 501c3 nonprofit. Started in 2011 by Claire Bloom. She was a Dover resident and retired shipyard employee. She heard that there were hungry kids right in her community, and she spent time and her own money to build this nonprofit. It is not unique for communities all over the country to have these weekend food assistance programs for children. E68 is unique in that 100% of money donated to the program go to buy food. It is an entirely volunteer-run program. Here in Elliott, it was started 5 years ago. I came on about 6 months into its start, and very quickly, by need, jumped in and started running the program. It started just at Elliott Elementary School with a handful of students, and now we're feeding upwards of 40 children every week in all 5 schools. The past couple of years, we were noticing how low the numbers was for high school. The high school has over 800 children, but there was maybe 1 or 2 kids that were taking food home with them. And so we did a little research and found that the social stigma for teenagers to be seen carrying food home was a bit too much for them. So we offered a food locker that the children could access the food during the week and bring it home. And now at the high school, we're up to nearly 20 children accessing the food locker. Okay, where was I? A little bit about my background. I come from retail, and in that was also a direct support for children with developmental disabilities. Got married, pregnant with my first child, and decided, hey, this is a great time to go back to school. Went back to school for nutrition. Graduated, I'm a registered dietary technician. Wanted to have another baby. So now I'm a stay-at-home mom with 2 kids, and I give back to my community by running this program. So now that you know a little of my background, I work very hard to find the balance in the food that we provide, to have nutritious food that is shelf-stable, inexpensive, and kid-friendly. That's a really hard balance. We try to keep the cost of each bag that we provide about $11, and that provides over 3,000 calories for the weekend. dinner, Friday dinner, Saturday breakfast, lunch, dinner, Sunday breakfast, lunch, dinner, and some snacks. And provide a range of nutrients. There's meats, vegetables, grains, dairy, and fruits, while really striving to limit sodium, the added salts, and limit sugar. So I said earlier that these children are experiencing food insecurity. Now that's different than hunger. Hunger is this biological feeling we get. Many of us can fast for any period of time for 12, 20, 36 hours for personal reasons, health reasons, spiritual reasons. And that hunger can change. We can control that. Now, food insecurity is experiencing a psychological trauma. It's a spiritual, emotional trauma of not knowing when your next meal is going to be. Not knowing if that meal is going to fill you up. Not knowing if that meal is going to be nutritious. And these children know, within all of that not knowing, they also know that their mother, that their uncle, that their grandparent, their neighbor might be sacrificing their own food intake so that that child can eat. This insecurity, this trauma, affects their everyday life. Now they're expected to go to school and to perform at this high level of functioning. And it causes greater visits to the nurse's station, headaches, stomach aches, anxiety, lack of concentration, lack of participation, fights, absenteeism. And it has been proven that when the food insecurity issue is resolved by providing them food for the weekend, that all of those insecurities disappear. It's almost an instant change noticeable by the school staff. Attendance increases, visits to the nurse decrease, participation increase, test scores increase. And it is, food insecurity is nationwide in every community. Out of every 4 children, 1 is experiencing food insecurity. At any given time, 25% of our children feel food insecure. And I want to leave you with a thank you for all that you do for helping alleviate the food insecurity here in our community. I'll be here after the service and fellowship. If there's anyone that has any questions or comments, I'll be here. Thank you. Thank you, Tricia. I think it's important for us as a congregation, as we practice our faith and how we come to the cradle of hope, and how it is that we can, as a people of God, bring peace to these children. 1 out of 4 children. What an insecurity. But to bring peace to their lives by providing this kind of meal and service is just wonderful. And it's important. And we do it year round. So it's good to know what kind of a program we're working with, and also to hear about its results as well. So I thank you, Tricia. So we have our calm and our hope, and we have our cradle of hope. But what do we mean by bright? Well, that's giving out or reflecting God's light. And that is what we do when we participate in those kind of ministries like E68. I like that. It's a lot easier to say. And it's a way that we reflect God's light in other people's lives. Now, our exploration of the hymn Silent Night for this Advent Christmas season is a way of shining a light on the power of reaching across divides and getting silent enough to listen to the hopes and fears of all the years, of those we tend to cast aside as our enemy or simply as different from us. Like that one person who issued the initial invitation to come out of the mouse holes in World War I and connect face to face. We each have that agency to reach out across divides and connect, and because we're humans with common human needs, and deep down, we all have the desire for peace for ourselves and for our children and for our grandchildren and great-grandchildren. It might just change the course of history, if only for a day. Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Amen. It's time for our communion, so please follow along in either your bulletins or on the overhead. As we prepare to pray our prayer of great thanks, let us take a moment of silence, of calm, in order to center our hearts, let go of those things in our lives that we regret, ask God for the peace of forgiveness. Please join me in silent prayer. Know this, already your world is a little bit calmer and brighter, having offered to God the bits of chaos that are in your life. Now the dark skies give way to beams of light illuminating your way. Move forward into God's future, forgiven and free. Let the people say, Amen. Come, for the way has been lit before you. Come and take in and take on the peace of Christ that is being reborn in us today. The Lord be with you.
And also with you.
Lift up your hearts.
We lift them up to the Lord.
Let us give thanks to the Lord our God.
It is right to give our thanks and praise.
Holy God, in the beginning you called out, let there be light. Just as your light of creation spread in response, so too does your light rise each day, offering us a new chance to make today a little brighter than yesterday. When we feel overcome or succumb to the dark night of our souls, you offer us a way back into the light of hope. And so we praise you, singing. And holy night, and brought with it your peace, joy, love, and hope. In the form of a baby, this holy infant, tender and mild, was a sign of new life, a sign of holy vulnerability, a sign of your presence, enfleshed in our human form. This would be the light that showed forth the truth that all humanity is beloved, and called us to care for each one as beloved. Jesus gathered the people around the tables, and showed them their radiance. Jesus gathers us around this table and says, "This bread and this cup are my life and light for you. And because I shine in you, let your light shine for the world." And so we offer ourselves in union with Christ's offering of salvation. Christ has died. Christ is risen. Christ will come again. Pour out your Spirit on us and on these gifts. Transform us into the light of your love for all and make us one in you. Thanks and praise be to the Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Amen. You to come forward at the direction of the ushers for communion. We will be doing communion at either rail, and both will have gluten-free and regular bread available to you as well. And if you at this time would also bring forward your offering and offer it in our offering plates. And if you have your pledge card, you can either fold it and put it up front or place it in the box at the back. So I invite those who are assisting me in communion to come forward now. Mark, if you could come forward. He will be available, as well as Meb, in the back for prayer stations if you are in need of prayer after communion. Let us join together in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. Please stand as we sing our closing hymn. I invite you to say our Advent Christmas blessing with me. Go with God into this day. May the Spirit guide your way. Offer peace to all you greet. Like Christ, see God in all you meet. For a time of fellowship and food and coffee.